Good afternoon, everybody. My name is James, and this is Morton Power Productions, where we focus on the 3Fs: faith, family, and film. And in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the third F, and that's going to be film. And we're going to look into what I feel is the best budget camera for your YouTube setup. And that's not only for like your sit-down shots, but your vlogs, or even if you want to make a short film, you can do it with this budget camera. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 criteria of what I feel like this camera needs to make it the best budget camera. But before we do that, let's roll the intro and go ahead and get on into the video. All right, so like I said in the intro, there are 5 key criterias that this camera has to have to be able to be what I consider the best budget camera for your YouTube setup. And that first one is going to be, it has to have 1080p at 24 and 60 frames per second. 60 FPS is more of the bonus, but 24p is what I feel like it needs to have for it to be a good budget camera. And 24p is the best frame rate for filming. It makes it look more cinematic, and it's generally the frame rate that most content creators are using right now for their A-roll shots. And A-roll is basically the main shot you see. It also gives you a more natural look in that film, so that you don't look as digital and as processed and things like that. 60 frames per second, I said it was a bonus, and that's because you can get really good slow-mo with 60 frames. Everybody says, oh, the camera has to have 120 frames per second to get the best slow-mo. No, I haven't owned a camera that does 120 frames per second. So it's really, actually I do own one, but I don't use it. 60p is the best. It's the most common frame rate to give you some good buttery slow-mo for your B-roll or just general change of pace shots. Now, number 2 is important because it needs to have a microphone input. Now, right now, what I'm using is, you see that I have a microphone boomed. It's actually ran to a audio interface that's plugged into the microphone input of my camera, because most onboard microphones in your cameras, they don't have the best preamps. So what you want to do is you want to add a boom microphone, or you want to add a wireless system like this, because it gets the microphone closer to your face so that you have better, clearer sounding audio, and the preamps actually make the audio sound much better. I'm not an audio engineer, but I do know enough to say that having this microphone rather than the onboard microphone will level up your audio so much. Audio is one of the 3 most pivotal parts of your content creation. There's the 3, it's AVL, audio, visual, and lighting. And there's a reason why audio is the first one, because if you have not great lighting or you have a not great video quality, people will tend to stick it out. But if you have crappy, choppy audio, I'm gonna say I won't sit and listen to a video that has bad audio. So having a microphone that is closer to your mouth gives you the better audio. People are more likely to stay and watch your video. Your viewer retention will be up, and then you can work on the other 2 later, which we're actually going to do a separate video for AVL in the future. But but having the input jack for a mic is pivotal so that you can have the best sounding audio possible. Nextly, it needs to have an interchangeable lens system. Now, some cameras today have a fixed lens on the camera that you can't change it, but it is a zoom lens, so you do get multiple focal lengths, but you're tied to whatever focal lengths are on that lens. Now, when you have an interchangeable lens system, you can have your wide angle lens, like this is a 10 to 18. Granted, it's on a crop sensor, so it's more like a 17 to 40-ish lens. And then you can throw on this lens right here, which is a 17 to 50, which is more probably like a 24 to 70-ish or 24 to 80-ish lens with a crop. And you can get different focal lengths, or you can get a nifty 50 that gives you that lower f-stop so that you can get more of that background blur. But having an interchangeable lens system gives you the flexibility to be able to change your focal lengths depending upon what you're shooting. And if you have a fixed lens, you're not able to do that. Now, number 4, these are just getting progressively more important. Having a flip screen on your camera is probably one of the most important things you need to have on a camera this day and age. With vlogging being so popular and people being a one-man film crew, it is definitely necessary to have a flip out screen so that you can see what you're shooting and see that you're in frame. Like right now, I'm using a dedicated monitor because I'm at my studio setup. But when I'm out vlogging, I definitely have to have that flip screen so that I can see what I'm filming, see that I'm in frame. Because what's the worst thing ever is you film a video and then you go to edit it and you're like over here, or it's like way up here and you're not in frame. So having that dedicated side or flip out screen, it can be flip out, flip up. I prefer flip out so that it doesn't hit your microphone. But having that dedicated screen will allow you to be able to film by yourself, get the make sure that your shot is on point, and make sure that your video looks the best that it can be. Now, the 5th option, or the 5th criteria, and the most important, it has to have a sub $1,000 price tag. Now, there are a lot of cameras that we're getting now that are more consumer level, that are having pro features that are getting anywhere from $1,500 to $2,300 range. But I still don't think that's more of like your mid-tier budget, or not budget. That's like your mid-tier camera setup. And when I say sub 1,000 price range, like anything under $1,000, because that gives you the opportunity to take the money that you would spend, say, on a Canon R8. Yes, that's a full frame camera, but you're spending $1,500 on a camera body when you could get something under $1,000 with a decent body, and then get yourself one, maybe two lenses, or maybe get you a lens, get you a shotgun microphone, or something like that to help level up your audio. And then later down the road, if you start making money from this, you can invest in a better body, better lenses, things of that nature. But a sub 1,000 price range, and there are plenty of cameras that are in the sub $1,000 price range. I'm filming on one right now, and I will tell you what camera this is here in a minute. But having that sub $1,000 price range allows you to be more flexible with your gear. And that's why it's pivotal that this camera have all 5 of these features, so that you can have a future-proof camera, because you're not going to need to upgrade at least your camera body for a while. You can upgrade your lenses and get better quality lenses and better quality peripherals, like adding a dedicated monitor, adding a preamp with a XLR microphone, things like that. This camera, literally, I used this camera for a year before upgrading to what I'm using now, because my skill set outgrew the camera. So I needed something a little bit different to be able to make the content that I'm making. And now that I've gotten through the 5 criteria, the best budget camera that I can recommend, and I'm actually going to recommend one I don't have in a second, but it's actually pretty much the same camera that I'm filming on right now, is the Canon EOS R10. This camera shoots 1080p. It actually shoots 4K, but it's a crop sensor camera, and then when you switch to 4K, it's gonna jump to even more of a crop, so I don't use the 4K. The 1080p is actually good enough that you don't need 4K. And right now, I wouldn't even worry about 4K, because a lot of people, are watching videos on their phones, on, devices that don't support higher resolution. And then eventually, later down the road, when it gets to more of the point where you need 4K, then you can upgrade your body from there. I bought this camera a few years ago when I started my production company, and I used it for a couple of wedding films, and it was awesome. I was able to get the video done, and it worked. I was filming my YouTube content on it. I was doing my professional work on it. Yes, there are limitations, but if you're just starting out, those limitations aren't going to be limitations for you. So And then this camera comes in right now at $999, so it's under $1,000. You can even find it on sale. Sometimes you can buy the camera used. But if you don't have $999 to spend on a camera, I would definitely look at the newly released Canon R50, which is basically this camera, just cheaper, I would say. It might not have as many features. I don't own the camera, so I can't really speak to that. But from all the reviews I've seen, it's pretty much the R10 in a cheaper, probably cheaper body. And that camera at the time of filming, $699. So $300 cheaper than this body. You can use that $300 to buy a 10 to 18 millimeter lens, which is what I'm filming on right now. Or you can buy some studio lighting or a microphone. Like I have a $80 audio interface that I'm routing everything through. I say all that to say this is you do not have to have the top of the line camera body to be able to film a YouTube video. The majority of my YouTube content over the last, well, before I would say August of last year was filmed solely on this camera, and I love it. The only reason I upgraded is because I needed something. I wanted to start filming in a log profile. I wanted to dip my toes into actual color grading and stuff like that, and I needed just a more pro camera for what I'm trying to do. But starting out, this is the perfect camera that you can use, and it will not break the bank. So with that being said, I hope you guys got some value out of this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, let me know what you're using right now to film your YouTube videos, and if you found this helpful and that you would upgrade to the R10 in the future. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, we're on a goal to 250 subs by the end of the summer. So I would say by the end of August is when what I want to have that hard goal for. So please sub to the channel. We're, about a quarter of the way there, or less than a quarter of the way there. So I would love it if you did that. But without further ado, thank you guys so much for tuning into the video, and we'll see you guys on the next video.